It seems that with how bleak and serious reality is right now, everyone is looking for movies, TV shows, or really any fictional universe to escape to. However, it also seems that as more time passes in this bleak and serious life, our fictional universes also become increasingly bleak and serious as well. It seems that every movie nowadays has an agenda, whether it be for one political party or the other, constantly trying to combat each other while critics and commentators are forced to talk about them, because if they don't, audiences will revolt against them. These movies are contributing more to life's problems than they are finding solutions, and rather than allowing us to escape our lives and into the film escapes itself and seeps into our lives. The political commentary on movies has gone so far that commentators are sometimes ranting and blabbering about movies that aren't even remotely political. Sonic 3 is about superpowered hedgehogs and Jim Carrey dancing and being silly and throwing glue at the ceiling because we wanted to. And what the— No, you don't need to dedicate 20 minutes of your talk show to ranting about a harmless film. We had our talks about Ariel and Snow White, and those movies got the hate that they deserved, but I'm tired of hearing about them at this point. And when studios and writers actually do their job well and create something that's fun that everyone can enjoy, people for some reason still feel the need as if they have to continue to revolt against them. They're brain rotting, they're stupid, they're nonsensical, they're derivative. It's 2025. Is there a single piece of media that isn't derivative at this point? Can we all just take a chill pill, sit back, and watch some colorful characters do colorful things on a screen? Or do you insist we continue living like we're in Blade Runner 2049? One argument against these movies that actually try to be fun is especially infuriating to me. It's a kid's movie. And were you not once a kid? Do you really not have a single ounce of childlike wonder left? We talk all the time about wishing we could go back in time, wishing we could be kids again. And the second we get something that gives us a little chance to forget about adulthood for a couple hours, this is what we have to say about it? And if it's just a stupid kids movie, why are you so hell-bent on degrading it? As if all of these kids look to your opinion on whether or not they should enjoy the movie. Why do you care so much? If your life is hard and you miss the good old days, why do you hate it so much when it's given to you? All these review bombers seem to do is just make more stress for themselves. And not only does this behavior diminish that piece of media that they're reviewing, it diminishes pieces that come after it. Because why would studios want to create more fun movies if they continue to be received as stupid, nonsensical, and derivative, as if that's not kind of their entire purpose? Fictional movies are supposed to be fictional. They don't need to have a complete, perfect analytical factuality about them. All of what I just said is applicable to what I'm about to say. People do not understand the purpose of Superman. I really didn't want to have to explain this like people are 5, but here I go. Superman is not real. This is what we call imagination. It's not real. Look. It's just for funsies, Superman guys. On TV. He's from a comic book. I'm absolutely sick and tired of the countless arguments saying that Superman is too imaginative, too nonsensical, too silly, too stylistic. Like, hello? Is this not the exact kind of film we've been begging studios to make for the last 5 years? Is this not the film that we've increasingly gotten exhausted at Marvel for not creating? We never said these things about Guardians of the Galaxy, whose main plot for the 3rd movie was the backstory of a talking raccoon. Critics ran with it like a cinematic masterpiece, because it was. And when these same critics are delivered an arguably more cohesive, more contained, and more accessible version of a James Gunn film, suddenly they're like, where's the gray? Where's the constant droning impending doom? Where's the exhaustingly serious undertone? Do these people know that Zack Snyder and James Gunn are 2 different people? Listen, I liked Man of Steel. I thought it was pretty sick. But did critics really expect that 12 years later, a reboot under new direction and new casting would be the same kind of film? Like, Gunn is going to completely scrap the style he spent years mastering just to adhere to Snyder's vision? These are the same critics who gave Snyder's Justice League a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. And for good reason. That movie sucked. This movie was supposed to be a Ratatouille moment for y'all, and it's like only half of you had the appetite to show up to the restaurant. I've seen review after review about how the plot is, quote, all over the place and sickeningly busy. These reviewers seriously cannot comprehend a movie can have layers to it. It makes complete sense to me that Superman, a literal alien with godlike superpowers, would have an impact on the world around him that expands beyond just one singular villain that wants to get rid of him. The decision to incorporate a layer of people-pleasing and government-abiding as well as villain-defeating is exactly what made this film entertaining. Other reviews say there's not enough humor, but I thought we all hopped off the Marvel train because they wouldn't stop filling their movies with lazy humor. Genuine question, do they understand that humor exists beyond just dialogue? Because this movie was full of humor when it comes to its visuals and its line delivery, its background imagery, its soundtrack. Asking questions the same level as, what made you wear glasses? Like, bro, my vision. A magazine called the San Francisco Chronicle says, quote, it's either a terrible superhero movie or an okay parody. Does it look like Weird Al Yankovic directed this film? What parody movie have you seen that portrays characters and tropes to this level of accuracy? Like, yes, hello, I'm James Gunn. I would like to become a chairman of DC and start making mindless parodies of all of your greatest ideas. You're hired. Like, what? Some arguments say that Superman is portrayed as too weak, but the people that are leaving this kind of review are the same people who think a movie where the villain gets completely squished like a bug is an entertaining watch. If you want movies like that, that's fine. Go watch Power Rangers. Sorry Superman didn't aura farm enough for you, or murder a bunch of civilians for the sole purpose of looking really cool in front of an explosion. Were you hoping that everyone in this movie would die except for Superman? Because that's basically what happened in Man of Steel. But no, when literally everyone affected survives and Superman takes the brunt of the beating, he's called weak and lame. Make it make sense. According to some article, the movie is, quote, devoid of humanity.
Uh-oh, retard alert! Retard alert, class!
Donald, did you even watch the movie? Or were you still stuck on the Cuphead tutorial? Because if this movie had one absolutely incredibly obvious point, it was that Superman's entire existence is fueled by his love for humanity. Humanity is quite literally the central theme of the movie. Man of Steel didn't give a crap about humanity. Snyder was too busy treating Earth like Superman's personal playground. The point is, to contain everything I've ranted about so far, the main overarching reason why people complain about this film is because it's different, it's lighthearted, and it's fun. That's what it comes down to. These critics wanted a dreary, hopeless, post-apocalyptic film, which was never even remotely hinted at, so I don't know why they expected it. And what they got was a fun movie about a serious plot, but with a lighthearted tone, and their depressed brains couldn't comprehend it. Let me say this clearly. Movies do not need to be realistic to be good. The original Star Wars trilogy is highly regarded to be one of the best, most imaginative, and original works of fiction in history by both critics and fans. Was it even the slightest bit realistic? Absolutely freaking not. Back to the Future, a dude named Marty McFly goes back in time to save his old scientist friend from dying, accidentally falls in love with his own mom, and then almost fades out of existence. Is that something you saw on CNN one day because it's so realistic? Yet here we are with Superman, a fictional character who's been around for over 80 years, and we're surprised that he and his universe behave differently from society in 2025? Like, I'm sorry your Superman movie wasn't historical fiction enough for you. I didn't realize we had a real-life Superman to base it on. Like look at these reviews. BBC, this movie feels like sci-fi, because it literally is. IndieWire, this movie doesn't feel like the start to anything. That's nice, Grandpa. Make sure not to fall asleep for the entire film next time. The Daily Beast, Superman, quote, resembles a Saturday morning cartoon. Brother, that's fine. Superman is from a comic book, not from Webster's dictionary. The Globe says, quote, the fun James Gunn insists on having can feel forced. Like, trust me, bro, the only thing that's forced is the stick up your butt. And guys, I can't even begin with this one. This critic named Larson on Film writes an entire paragraph about the cinematic intricacies and details of the single most appreciated scene from the whole movie, and then says, "Am I supposed to be impressed by that?" Like, yes, bro, you are. Are you the Grinch or something? Should I be making sure you don't steal Christmas this year? When will we go back to watching movies for the sake of enjoying them? Not every film has to contribute to your career or your personal issues. In fact, it's important that it doesn't. For the sake of everyone whose food on the table doesn't depend on trashing works of media in a magazine, let your opinions form naturally. Stop acting like everything you're subjected to has to check every box in your personal ideals, because you're never going to find enjoyment in anything that way. And I'm not here to say that Superman is overall being rated poorly. It's actually succeeding as far as ratings go, which only proves my point further that the ones who are finding ways to trash this film are genuinely the type of people who just want to watch the world burn. These negative reviews, while there aren't a ton of them, are genuinely some of the worst journalistic pieces of writing I've ever read. Every single one of them just completely misses the point. The point that fiction and nonfiction are not the same thing, believe it or not. The point that movies about the same character can be made by different people with different ideas. The point that movies based off of comic books and cartoons are going to be cartoonish in nature. And my goodness, the point that a movie full of predictability is actually not a good thing. I'm sorry to be so heated in this video. I just get upset when people with platforms don't give enough of a crap to actually pay attention to what they're going to be affecting negatively with their review. And I also don't say all this to say I don't like movies with serious tones, because I do. I've seen The Batman and really enjoyed it because it had a uniquely dark style to it. But that's exactly what I'm getting at, being open to several different styles. It seems that certain people don't understand that art can be in a variety of different styles, regardless of what the art is about. And in a world where we've gotten so completely exhausted over executives producing the same slow-paced, serious films with the same ideas and the same actors, where any humor is just haphazardly thrown in at the end, we should really be more appreciative when a director delivers a refreshingly different movie. So by all means, loosen your freaking pants and just let go for a while. Thank you.